I call the meeting to order. This is July 22nd, 2019, legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. During this meeting, should an emergency arise, please calmly proceed to the nearest exit down the hallway to the right and down the staircase. If unable to use, please use the staircase to the left down the hall, the other direction. So should you need special assistance, let us know, but do not use the elevator. At this time, we'll have our invocation. I'd like to invite up to the podium the Very Reverend John Wright of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship at Salisbury.
I'm not very reverend. I'm just
Oh, you're very reverend.
Thank you so much to the City Council for inviting me this evening. Will you please join me in a brief moment of prayer? Mother, Father, God, Spirit of life and love, first cause, deep mystery, you who are called by many names yet fully known by none, we travel together in search for meaning, having come from different places and bringing many different gifts to share for the journey. Let us be grateful for this moment to be together, for the opportunity to serve the people of Salisbury, and for the most important and wondrous gift of all, for the gift of life. So now I ask, for what shall we pray? Shall we pray for wisdom that these servant leaders may be able to discern the best course as they deliberate this evening? Shall we pray for strength that these citizen representatives may find the courage to make the sometimes difficult decisions necessary for the health and well-being of all the varied citizens of this wonderful city? Or shall we pray for compassion, that these dedicated souls may always be aware of the awesome responsibility they carry for protecting the most vulnerable among us? In truth, we must pray for all these things, for they are all necessary. May these servants, leaders, citizens, representatives, these dedicated souls be granted all the wisdom, the strength, and the compassion they need to fulfill their mission, to ensure peace and prosperity for our city, and to build a beloved community here in Salisbury. These things we ask in the name of all the names we use to call on you, that supreme power that guides us, whatever our traditions, to act in ways that are loving, wise, and just. Salam, shalom, peace, and amen.
Thank you, Reverend White. At this time, we will say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a presentation. Mr. Mayor.
Mr. President, council members, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thanks for giving me a few minutes. We actually have two presentations tonight, one of them led by myself and one by some wonderful guests. But speaking of guests, you know, a city, a community is more than its local government. It's more than its school system, its hospitals. It's made up of people. It's made up of the very human beings that comprise our fabric, our history. And one of the great things that I love about this community is that the people of this community, we are people that I think seek peace. We are people that seek partnership and friendship. Some of those friendships have been formalized, and some extend far beyond our borders. Jim, in your time and in your predecessor's time and through the last several decades, we've developed sister city relationships with Salisbury, England, Tartu, Estonia, Dalian, China, and recently Salinas, Ecuador. And I think those partnerships, those friendships have borne some fruit. But I'm excited to be able to welcome some guests with us tonight from friends from another a nation that has been a friend of ours, and I mean America's. That mention of liberty just a few minutes ago is a concept that the French shared with us several hundred years ago, and I think is an important concept. So tonight we have several guests who are with us and who have been with us for how long? 2 weeks? Got here on the 9th of July. Okay, so have been with us for several weeks. And these are some young guests, right? Brought to us through Global Friendships Incorporated. And as I read their names, I'd like them to come up and stand with me, and for their host family to come up if they're here. So first, I'd like to ask the teacher, Elodie Bagou. And if I mess up any of these names, is she here?
She's not here? No.
Okay, that's her. All right. Ulysse Delou?
None.
Not here? Okay. Baptiste Mandry?
None.
Not here. Raphael Mandry?
You're doing good with it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Jim, help me. Raphael Mandry? Not here. Matthias Ball? No. Igor de Ritter? Igor, come on up. All right.
All right.
All right, Igor, stand with me if you will for a second. I'm going to read this. First of all, bienvenue, and this is a presentation of a certificate of citizenship to Salisbury to commemorate your experience as an exchange student through Global Friendships Incorporated while visiting Salisbury, Maryland during your stay with hosts Marley and Conrad Morgan. This certificate hereby bestows honorary citizenship as a Salisburian and all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities hereafter entitled by the mayor on behalf of the citizens of the city of Salisbury. All right. Jacques Mouly? No. Pauline Dufresne? No. Nathan Briard? Nathan?
We're padding our census numbers now, so we needed more of them to come.
Yeah.
One more year.
Unfortunately, I don't think this comes with U.S. citizenship.
It's all right, we'll come.
All right, and Nathan's host? Yes? Let's see. So Shannon, right? And William?
Bill, yes.
Bill? Shannon and Bill Ritz. Bill, thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thomas Zielinski? No? Melvin Martell?
There we go. No.
Absolutely. And Melvin's host, our councilwoman, Angela Blake.
And Melvin made the mayor and council some very nice treats tonight.
Really?
Something Bernard. Chocolate something or other. Yes, thank you, sir.
Melisandre Grabion. Did I get that right? Yeah? And Melisandre Ashton and Thurman Donaway. Charlotte Higgins. Alex Berry. Alex. And Alex's hosts were Carla and Roy Guthrie. Oh, here you go. You don't get the citizenship without the certificate.
Ashton.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Jack, he's there. They come up. Come on up.
Jacques Mouly?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Jacques, come on up.
Go ahead.
And your host, Jacques, Kristen, and David Hearn.
Right.
Okay, and Alban Dujardin.
Nice.
Impressive.
I love
Those 5 years of French are coming back to me. I'm sorry? Oh, you're the temp host. So what I'd like to do, did I get everybody who was here?
It's here.
Okay. Yep. What I'd love to do is, can we get all of the students and all of the host families behind the council for a picture?
That would be awesome.
Can we do that?
Just sit. What do you need us
Do you want
to
us
do?
to sit?
And just pull in?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pull
Perfect.
Everybody come on.
Pull in.
It's bonjour, ça va. Bonjour, ça va. Ashton. No. No.
Parcel. Spanish, I can do it.
You can get those things.
I had friends too. My home.
And we'll get you.
Do I need to come down a little bit?
We'll put the tallest in the middle.
Tallest in the middle.
Tallest in the middle. I know.
Can you take a picture?
Take it, man. You can't stand in front of them now, okay?
They're sunburned.
We got just a little bit more.
Jim, they're sunburned.
I said so.
Okay.
Everybody in? We got there. There we got. Why don't you put him in the chair and slide him right next to Councilman Jackson? There you go.
Yeah, come on.
That's how it starts. That's what you do.
We're recruiting.
That's what they do. That's what Mayor Martin did for me.
needed red, white, and blue, so I let
Okay, come on then.
Recruiting efforts right here.
Yep, that's,
Wait, wait on them.
I think that's exactly how we should sit
All right, you
too.
gotta sit like this now. Come on. Now sit like this.
Remember
There it
these
is.
hands?
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
You don't want power hands. I taught him power hands.
Alrighty, guys.
Leak, are we photo ready? What are we doing? All right, go.
Okay, grandbaby, are you finished? Okay, this is
Good, buddy?
my stuff in chair. Wait a minute.
Thank you so much, Mayor and Council. That was wonderful.
Madam Clerk, are you going to unveil the treats?
I say unveil them. I think we need to see a peek at them. They're layered sweets. They are, I mean, it's layers of chocolate, white chocolate, or ganache,
Oh, BMGM.
a mint, something with, I don't know.
So
with
anybody
something.
watching live right now
Oh,
on
and
Tax
caramel.
14, you may come down and
And
help us
caramel.
because
And
I'm not allowed to eat all that tonight. While they're passing out desserts at this city council meeting, we're going to move on to our next item, which is mobile crisis presentation by Bettie Jo Lewis and Carol Masden. Oh, boy. Thank you.
Mark?
I'm busy tonight. I gotta read.
Come on, Mark.
Delish.
I'm going to eat this during the presentation.
Andy?
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, thank you,
Are
Joe.
they,
Oh, I know, it's
Oh,
hard to
got it.
compete with the chocolate when we're passing out boring old data and information. I
This is perfect timing.
know. Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Oh, goodness. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, thank you all so much for allowing us to come and present to you this evening. I want to particularly thank Councilwoman Blake for inviting us and having us on the agenda this evening. Councilwoman Blake, giving her a particular shout out, who happens to be a licensed clinical, certified social worker clinical, and who also, for particular disclosure, was a member of our mobile crisis team for a number of years, and a wonderful member of our crisis team, if I might say so. So for all disclosure purposes, wanted to make sure that that was out there before she took on many other wonderful responsibilities in the community and had to resign to serve her community in other ways. I'm Carol Masden, and I am blessed to be the director of Eastern Shore Crisis Response Services. And we're so thrilled to be able to share with you this evening. I have Joe Lewis, who is our team leader, and Tina Marie Brown, who is our deputy director, with me this evening. And we've been providing services here on the Eastern Shore as part of affiliated Sante Group, which is Maryland's largest provider of crisis services, for the past 9.5 years. And we actually have an office that is based here in Salisbury that serves Wycomico and Somerset counties. I have 2 documents that I've shared with you. One that has data, and I don't want to bore you with the minutia of the data, but I would like to point out to you on page 2 of the data report that we do serve Salisbury. And on the top of the data report, we do have Salisbury dispatches, and we have been serving Salisbury for the past 9.5 years. And these are the zip codes that are in Salisbury, and I thought that that would be of particular importance to the council. You can see in the table below it the 8 counties that we serve here on the Eastern Shore with our mobile crisis program. On the front page, we serve all 9 counties with our call center, but with our mobile crisis program, this really does drill down into the dispatches that are provided here in Salisbury. Our call center is available 24/7, answered by live folks. They are answered here on the Eastern Shore. And we define crisis as people who call us define crisis. It could be a financial issue, it could be a family issue, it could be someone who is actively suicidal. We work very closely with our local law enforcement partners. We also work across the lifespan. The youngest person that we have worked with has been 3, the oldest has been 96, and everyone in between. We are free. We provide free services. We have gone to multi-million-dollar waterfront estates. We have gone to tent cities and everything in between. And our mobile crisis team goes out to the person in crisis. We work very closely with HALO, the Christian Shelter, and all of those resources that you have here in your Salisbury community. And so that's our data. Our goal is to try to keep people out of the hospital if we safely can do that. And we try to identify our savings, our cost savings to the community. So again, not to bore you with data, but on page 3 of keeping people out of the hospital, we were able to find the Healthcare Blue Book as a way to identify some of those cost savings, and anybody can go to the Healthcare Blue Book. And I do have some of this that I will be happy to share with you, our partner from the media. But we do identify the Healthcare Blue Book that has been identifying Peninsula Regional Medical Center. If you go to their emergency room and you were to have a mid-level emergency room visit, at one point they were identifying them as a cost of $2,189 for a mid-level emergency room visit. And so if we were to have costed out the $1,600 1,062 emergency room diversions. That was where we came up with the $2,324,718 in potential savings that we are potentially actualizing. We're not asking for any money tonight. We're just coming to say we're available by calling our 888-407-8018 number, which is on the back of our material. Joe has cards. Joe is our team leader. She is so amazing. She knows so many people down here. She is so wonderfully respected, and we're so blessed to have her on our team and facilitating our services down here. The one-sheeter that we have identifies some of the key items that we're able to provide. We have gone to, we are evolving to 24/7. Monday through Friday, we have 24/7 services. Social workers and clinicians, we are not raised in the model of 24/7 like nurses and law enforcement and EMTs. So we are having a little bit of a difficulty to hire folks who are wanting to work around the clock. So if you know of anyone out there who is looking to work 24/7, please send them our way. I'm told that I am fairly good to work for. I do have my moments. I do identify that. But we do pay an overnight differential, and it's really tremendously rewarding to work with people when they are at their most fragile, and to see them move beyond that. We provide linkages to folks in getting the community resources, and we do follow up. And that's one of the things that we take tremendous pride on. Joe, did you have anything to add or to offer as our team leader down here, and really kind of the glue and the the stability of our Salisbury office?
Well, I'd just like to say that we do partner with a lot of agencies in the community. The COAT team, we work with them quite a bit. We also work with all of the providers in the community, the mental health providers, the hospital, police. We try to work with them as well. We have, as she had mentioned, as Carol had mentioned, we do work with shelters and whatnot. And if they have anyone who is having a difficult time, we can go out and work with them as opposed to them having to go to the emergency room. So that's something that kind of takes off a little bit. We also work with the city of Salisbury, Christine. And I can answer any questions that anyone might have. I attend a lot of the meetings for, such as the adult multi-Ds in Wycombe County, also attend the Homeless Alliance for the Lower Shore meetings. Try to get connected and get our name out there so that they know we're available and what we do.
Exactly. If somebody, if our local law enforcement, if they've gone out and completed an emergency petition, taken someone to the hospital, and the hospital has not been able to admit them for one reason or another, and they've been referred out to a community mental health provider, we are not a provider. If we're doing our job correctly, we're building the bottom line of the community providers, and we're serving as a safety net. And so that's where our follow-up comes in handy, is to provide that support from the hospital until they have that appointment, so that they don't end up back in the emergency room. And so, you know, we want to have the backs of the local law enforcement or the local emergency services to cut down on their 911 utilization, and to be able to be a partner for those organizations. We'd welcome the opportunity to field any questions that you might have, or to sit down and let your agenda continue, however you would like to proceed.
You know, the numbers don't lie, and I think this is just amazing service, and being with Mobile Crisis, that this is the level and the amount of response to Salisbury alone. This is just Salisbury numbers, and that's pretty impressive. And the diversion numbers, of course, the state likes to look at those numbers, saving the money, but the numbers don't lie. And the service is impeccable.
Thank you, Madam
Can I ask
President.
another question?
I understand that you aren't here tonight to ask for any funding.
Absolutely.
However, may I ask, what is your funding model?
Absolutely. Our Salisbury team is funded by two predominant pots of money. We got our initial pot of money from the closure of Upper Shore Community Mental Health Center, the state hospital that was in Chestertown, that when it was being closed, there was such community outrage that then Governor O'Malley was asked to put some of that investment back into the community, and it funded the Salisbury team, our Centerville team, and our call center. And then the overnight dollars came last year when we were asked to go with law enforcement in the midshore predominantly, who said we really need some additional services overnight because there are not overnight resources. And so, and it's not that there was not the opportunity for lower shore law enforcement, but we work most closely with our Midshore and Cecil County law enforcement, and they're the ones who went hand in hand with us and asked for the additional funding, and so that's how we got the overnight dollars. And we also just got the word that we were awarded additional funding for our Salisbury and Cambridge team for children and adolescent services so that we can keep those cases open longer. Again, and that is specifically for our Salisbury and Cambridge team. And I don't know whether that is state-only dollars or if that will be a portion of federal block grant dollars.
Well, thank you for what you do. I was just curious, and I appreciate that, but I think we're all just grateful that you're there in
Thank
difficult
you.
times.
And our teams are able to assist someone if they have a mental health and or a substance use disorder. And again, we work closely with the COAT team and with the other partners in the community. And if you'd like to put our number in your phone, 888-407-8018, to work with your constituents as another community resource, we would be honored to work with your constituents as well.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. We're so honored for you all to be, for you all to have us here this evening. You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Great work, great work. Thank you so much.
I'll let you do it. Spanish, I can handle it. Thank you very much for that presentation. We appreciate your service to our community. At this time, I'll call for a motion to adopt the legislative agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
At this time, I'll call for the motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those,
Good evening.
Oh, there it is.
On the consent agenda tonight, we have the April 24th, 2019 budget work session minutes, the June 17th, 2019 work session minutes, and resolution number 2966, agreeing to the extension of the acting status for acting sanitation supervisor Jeremiah Arrington and acting motor equipment operator 3 Michael Smiley, both assigned to the Department of Field Op.
any questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
This time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the award of bids.
So moved.
Second?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just one item this evening. The Department of Procurement received a request from the Salisbury Police Department to solicit bids from suppliers to furnish and install some or all equipment into police vehicles. Installed equipment includes emergency lighting, a siren and speaker system, consoles and docking stations, mobile data equipment, prisoner transport cages, and other necessities critical to the safe and fully outfitted operation of a police vehicle. This solicitation also included a contract extension clause. This clause provides the city with the option to renew all or portions of this contract with the same terms and conditions as the original contract for 2 one-year terms, contingent upon sufficient budget appropriation and mutual agreement between the city and the vendor. The Department of Procurement followed standard competitive bidding practices by advertising in the Daily Times, on the City of Salisbury's procurement portal, and posting on the State of Maryland's website, eMaryland Marketplace. A total of 4 vendors submitted a bid by the due date and time of June 5th, 2019 at 2:30 p.m. This is the cost for upfitting one vehicle. Global Public Safety, bid $21,751.51. Priority Install, bid $22,681.32. Frontline Mobile Tech, bid $23,888. And Blue Tech LLC, bid $25,709.66. All vendors were deemed responsive and responsible, and the Department of Procurement hereby requests Council's approval to award contract ITB A-19-109 to Global Public Safety. The award would include an alternate upfitting option noted in the departmental memo, increasing the per vehicle cost to $22,201.56. There are currently 3 Ford Interceptor police utility vehicles on order from fiscal year 19, all of which will require upfitting under this contract, thereby bringing the total initial award to $66,604.68. Funds are available in the Salisbury Police Department vehicles account noted in your packet. As additional vehicles are ordered in fiscal year 20 and in future years in which the contract will be renewed, purchase orders for upfitting will be issued on an as-needed basis on available funding.
Any questions or comments?
I just wanted to know if any of, it's not like some of the ones we have, which are hundreds of thousands of dollars apart. These are pretty close to one another. Are any of these local?
Oh, do you remember where all I don't have the addresses of the vendors with me tonight.
3 of the vendors are from across the bay. There is one local vendor, which is the Blue Tech LLC.
No.
I believe he's either in Snow Hill or Berlin.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2548 for second reading.
Second.
Mr. Tillman.
Good evening. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, approving a budget amendment of the grant fund to appropriate 2019 Community Legacy Fund awarded for the National Folk Festival Amphitheater Phase 2 project. Whereas the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development has a Community Legacy Grant Program, and whereas the purpose of the CL Grant Program is to provide local governments and community development organizations with funding for essential projects aimed at strengthening communities, and whereas the City of Salisbury is committed to hosting the 2018-20 seasons of the National Folk Festival in order to celebrate our community's local culture and art, and whereas the City of Salisbury submitted an FY19 Community Legacy application to the Department for funding to support the National Folk Festival Amphitheater Phase 2 project, and whereas the DHCD has executed a grant agreement with the City of Salisbury providing funding of up to $100,000 for the National Folk Festival Amphitheater Phase 2 project, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of the grant must be made upon the recommendation of mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the City of Salisbury, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salisbury that the city's grant fund budget be amended as follows. Increase the FY19 Community Legacy Grant Revenue Account by $100,000 and increase the fiscal year 19 Community Legacy Grant Expense Account by an equivalent amount.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next is the entertained motion to approve ordinance number 2549 for second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, approving a budget amendment of the grant fund to appropriate funds for fiscal year 2019 Women's Grant Fund from the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore to establish the hygiene program in the City of Salisbury as part of the Salisbury's Housing First Homeless Program. Whereas the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore has a women's grant program, and whereas the purpose of the Women's Fund Grant Program is to work together to help change lives by addressing the unmet needs of women and girls on Maryland's Lower Eastern Shore, and whereas the women experiencing homelessness forego many necessities in order to make ends meet, including feminine hygiene products, which cannot be purchased with food supplement benefits or any other government assistance, and whereas the access to free sanitary hygiene products will reduce the likelihood of infection among homeless women and girls in Wycomico County, and whereas Salisbury's Housing First Homeless Program wishes to establish the city's hygiene program to provide free feminine hygiene products for homeless women in Wycomico County, and whereas the CFES has executed a grant agreement with the City of Salisbury which provides funding in the amount of $4,500 for the Housing First Hygiene Program, and whereas the appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the City of Salisbury, now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, that the city's grant fund budget be amended as follows. Increase the FY19 Women's Fund Grant Revenue Account by $4,500. Increase the FY19 Women's Fund Grant Expense Account by an equivalent amount.
Questions or comments? Christine, thank you for all your work you do with Housing First. We appreciate it. I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Next up, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2550 for second reading.
Second?
Okay, the copy of the ordinance that you have in front of you today has some underlying changes and line outs, which are basically stylistic and grammatical, that have been taken care of since the first reading. An ordinance of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, to abandon an area of the land being an unnamed alley accessed from Lake Street and traversing City Parking Lot 30 to the western bank of the Wycomico River, and to abandon an area of land being the unimproved roadbed of Small Street accessed from West Main Street and traversing a part of the City Parking Lot 30. Whereas the unnamed alley and Small Street are shown on the plat entitled Street and Alley Closure dated May 23rd, 2019, and part of City Parking Lot 30, and whereas Small Street is not open or paved, and whereas the unnamed alley to abandon is adjoined by city-owned parcels 1641, 1644, 1647, 46, 48, 43, and 40, that along with the unnamed alley make up a portion of the developed area of City Parking Lot 30 and are more fully shown and described as Exhibits A and B, which are incorporated herein by reference. And whereas Small Street is adjoined by the city-owned parcels 1637, 38, 39, 41, 40, 42, 43, 44, and 45, that along with Small Street make up the remaining portion of the developed area of City Parking Lot 30 and are more fully shown and described in Exhibits A and B attached here too. And whereas the City of Salisbury's Department of Infrastructure and Development has determined that the aforementioned areas of land have never been used by the public, are unimproved and unpaved, and whereas the city believes it in the best interest of the city to abandon the aforementioned areas of land in order to improve the potential of Lot 30 for development, and whereas the City of Salisbury Charter SC 11-2 gives the city charge of all public ways in the city, and whereas the City Charter 16-8 allows the city to abandon or otherwise dispose of property that is not saleable, and whereas the City of Salisbury Department of Infrastructure and Development has prepared and the city solicitor has reviewed the plat to abandon the unnamed alley and revert the portions of the unnamed alley fronting on parcels 1640, 41, 44, 46, 47, and 48 to these city-owned parcels as shown on the document attached here to as Exhibit A, and whereas the City of Salisbury Department of Infrastructure and Development has prepared and the city solicitor has reviewed the plat to abandon Small Street and to revert the portions of Small Street fronting on parcels 16, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45 to these city-owned parcels as shown on the document attached here to as Exhibit A, and whereas the Department of Infrastructure and Development provided the City Council with a recommendation of the proposed road abandonment on June 17th, 2019 at a City Council work session. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salisbury, the city hereby abandons 7,725 square foot area of the heretofore described unnamed alley in Small Street, and the mayor and the City of Salisbury is hereby authorized to execute all documents necessary to convey the said areas to the with the abandoned city-owned parcels. And the documents attached, A and B, are unchanged.
Any questions or comments? Jim, did you want him to repeat that, or are you good?
I zoned out at 44, 45, 46, and 47, and I'm good. I was with you till then.
Call
I
for
just
the
dropped the
question. All
reference to
those in
60.
favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. And last, we'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2551 for second reading.
So moved.
Second?
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, granting an easement to the Rotary Club of Salisbury Foundation, Inc., across city-owned property, tax map number 107, parcel 883. Whereas the City of Salisbury owns all that real property described in the deed of easement by and between the city and the Salisbury and the Rotary Club of Salisbury Foundation, Inc., the easement attached to this ordinance, and whereas the Rotary Club of Salisbury Foundation, Inc. has requested permission to construct a labyrinth on the above referenced real property for the use of the public, and whereas before commencing work to construct the labyrinth, the Rotary has requested the City of Salisbury enter into the easement attached hereto, granting Rotary the right to construct the labyrinth. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salisbury that the City of Salisbury allow Rotary to construct the Rotary Labyrinth project located on and within the real property described in the easement by and between Rotary Club of Salisbury Foundation, Inc. and the City of Salisbury attached hereto, and that the mayor is hereby authorized to execute the attached easement for and on behalf of the City of Salisbury. And be it further ordained as follows, and basically that's just the standard language that appears in every one. I won't repeat it. The only thing I would bring to your attention is that there have been, in the actual easement itself, there have been the changes as shown by the additions and deletions, but primarily the only significant ones are that to the extent that the city will maintain the improvements and ensure the improvements, but the city shall not be obligated to replace said improvement should the cost to replace exceed insurance proceeds received by the city. So that was my addition to that. If you disapprove, fine, but I felt that that was necessary in order to protect the city.
Need an amendment for that? or-
Well, this is on the deed
Okay,
itself, so
yeah,
no,
so
we're good. And then the only other substantive addition on the second page, where there was reference to the property, the improvements being removed, I said if it was removed or abandoned and no use was made of the labyrinth for 1 year. So it's, those are the requirements, then it would cease to exist.
Any questions or comments?
I was just going to add that it is interesting that we have guests from France who are with us this evening, because the labyrinth that the Rotary Club is building is based on Chartres Cathedral, which is 80 miles south of Paris. So I wanted to, you've come all this way on a pretty ordinary night with not a whole lot going on, and there's a reference to a French cathedral that we're building a labyrinth for peace out of. So I'm going to ask my council members, our meeting is almost done, but we're going to say thank you and goodbye to you in French if you'll allow us to do that. So if you'll join me, everyone, merci.
Merci.
D'être ici aujourd'hui. Au revoir.
So I'll call for the question. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Ms. Jackson, you have a couple updates for us?
Yes.
Yes.
I do, and you know who it's about,
Right.
one of them anyway. I would like to thank and congratulate Joshua Copeland for making it to the next level and representing the city of Salisbury and Wycomico County on BET's Sunday's Best. He has arrived to the next level, and he's just doing awesome things on that show. I'm just touched by what he does. And also, we had a girls' team, AAU team, go to Las Vegas. And it was a national tournament. Our young ladies won that tournament. They came in first place. They're the Delmarva Divas, and their coach is Jasmine Robinson. So Divas, Delmarva Divas, thank you so much for representing the city of Salisbury well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're proud of you.
You and I back in the day were in the Delmarva Divas, weren't we?
I still am.
I was gonna say something, but I'll save it
It's
for after
okay.
the meeting, Jim.
It's
Say it. Go
You're
ahead.
still a diva, Jim, but I love
I know.
you. Anything else for the good of the order?
I just want to say one small thing.
go ahead.
Go ahead, no, go away from.
My grandchildren are here, my great-grand.
I told him we'd be within an hour.
Shaheem and Dior. And I'm gonna tell you, I've never seen two kids that were so excited to come to the meeting today. They were very exciting, and they're leaving Wednesday. I'm gonna miss them.
Did they get some chocolate?
Yeah,
get some
they did.
treats?
Yeah, they're gonna drive me crazy, watch.
They finished it.
But they're leaving Wednesday, but I wanted us to take a picture with them before we leave.
Yes.
They really enjoyed themselves here in Salisbury.
Awesome.
I had
coming.
two things to finish up. One, I definitely dearly wanted to thank Melvin for his outstanding treat.
Yes.
That was a treat.
I'm still eating
And
it,
my
Melvin.
sister was dear to help him through that process. So that was wonderful. Also, I did want to give a shout out to Friday night. I was really moved with the presentation and everything, of the proclamation for the 10th year downtown. It really has made a huge difference to our city, and to see the police department out there and all the other city agencies and the kids out there, and just the booths and stuff, and just how far that downtown has come. And I did want to give a shout out to Jim, because I know in those early days that he really was help Jim
You.
behind that, and I just wanted to give a shout out to him. You know, he's laid a lot of groundwork for the city of Salisbury, and you know, sometimes the fruits of those labors come out many, many years later. And Jim, many thanks. And it was really, really moving Friday evening to see all that go on 10 years later.
Here, here.
Don't cry.
We love you, Jim.
Was.
We love
Yes,
you.
we do.
All right, so with that, we are adjourned.
Right.